Radio is one vessel for content. It's a big vessel and it's a great vessel, but there are many vessels for content. And for me, I would like to be in all of them. I know that's not possible, but I try to be as many as I can.
Yeah.
But they all have their limitations. YouTube has their limitations. Like, if you're on YouTube, my dad's never going to see you. But if you run a commercial during Jeopardy, he'll see you. You know what I mean? So there's so many different vessels and they're all different. I don't think any one's better than the other. But for me, I've never wanted just to live in one vessel ever.
Especially if you're looking for a job inside or out of radio, like go start interviewing people that you want to work for or companies that you want to work for, because you're getting yourself like a free interview and they, because you become really top of mind. Let's say like you're hiring and you and I just hit it off great. And you're like, wow, I want this girl for whatever. Like we have this job position. So I'm just like, really like, just go get yourself your own job interview, and people are usually flattered by that. Like, oh, you want me to be on your podcast? Yeah, I'll come on.
No, and 100%. And, I know there are other people in radio doing YouTube series like me and other people in radio doing, podcasts and videos like you. How many can you name? 10, 20, maybe, maybe 30 off the top of your head, maybe 30, right?
Yeah.
So for anybody watching that's, on the beach in radio or trying to get into the content business, this is not a big pond yet. It's not. YouTube's a big pond. Podcasts are a big pond. But when you're making it like a radio centric thing, to reach out to your peers and to your, other people in the industry and you want to reach them, there's not a lot of people doing it. I think it's slim pickings right now.
Especially with the Twitch stuff, like being able to just broadcast, stream or whatever, how you want to do it and get paid for being yourself. Like Kyle's been one of my favorite stories because of the fact, like I actually didn't even know until I talked to him that he was like the part-time guy kind of trying to find his way in the radio world. I saw him a little bit on Radio Fam. He used to interact with me. I thought he was some guy that's had a full-time job. I didn't really know.
Right.
And I was supposed to feature him. And then he kind of reached out like, hey, I lost my job, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, like reach back out when you want to, like it'll be here. And then to see
that's
that little,
so cool. I didn't know that story.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And I saw him like doing like these funny TikTok videos. So those stood out to me because I'm like, wow, like he's funny, like this content, this guy's great. And then I saw him doing like the Twitch thing and to see it just slowly build because he's consistent about it. And I have seen so long ago where I could see most people would have given up by, but Kyle didn't. And he's a perfect example of why it's working. And he's getting to do so much more without having to have that radio telling him what to do and kind of stop.
He does not have a PD or an MD or a sales GM to answer to. He does what he wants. I think Kyle is the ultimate example of the comeback. I've said this a couple other times, and I know I've put a bad taste in some people's mouths saying things like this, but I believe it. And not everyone's going to agree with me, but if you are in the content business right now, or if you are in radio, working or not right now, if you're not making money, if you're not making a living at this, it's because you're lazy.
Yeah.
And again, I've been fired as much as anybody else has. And I'm not saying that we don't work hard, but if you're on the beach right now and you're just going through All Access looking for a job, start posting on YouTube, start a TikTok account, get on Twitch like Kyle did, and just work at it. We're all so good at making content. I know I say it like from a shitty place, but it kind of breaks my heart when I see really talented people, a lot of which I think are way better than what I do at my job. and they're not. I go, oh my God, you would absolutely murder it on Twitch. Or you could do a dong show, or you could do something like Kyle King, or do something like what I'm doing. My show isn't very hard to make. It's just a lot of man hours. Or to do a killer podcast and a website like you have. It's not impossible. I'm not special. I'm doing it. We're just people out here trying to make it work. So work. I mean, I think you and Kyle are the perfect example for anybody. And, I know some people say I'm harsh about it, but I know it's hard being unemployed. I've been unemployed many times publicly from radio. A couple times I've had formats flip or gotten fired. It blows and it breaks your heart. And, I got, mental and emotional scars to prove it. But just start making something, man. If you're not making it in the radio, get on Twitch. If it's not Twitch, get into comedy. If it's not comedy, maybe it's public speaking. Maybe it's, being a motivational speaker. I got friends that I know would kill it at that. There's always something there for you. You just got to want to dig for it a little bit, but I promise it's there. That's why I do home studio catalyst on my phone still. Like I shop for cameras every day and I'm talking to like Shorty and a couple of my friends about cameras to buy. And I'm like, no, that's the charm of it, man. That's the charm, is that anybody can do this. This is a year-old phone. Anybody can do this, I really want to get like some high-end DSLR and drop $1,000 or $2,000 on a camera that I don't have. But I think that's the charm of it. Anybody can do this. There's really just no excuse for not putting out content in 2021 if you're in the content business. A lot of it's free to make, a lot of it.
and free to learn how to do is another thing. Like YouTube is the best ever, and networking within each other. Like I wanted actually to ask about contract stuff. Like I don't know a ton about that. Like, are you asked to sign, in some of these jobs that you have landed? How do you navigate that world?
They're all different. I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but I'll expand, but they are all a little bit different. Have a lawyer look at it. That's one thing I learned a long time ago. I've read enough contracts to kind of know what to look out for. I never thought I'd get to that point because it looks like it's written in Latin to me. I don't even know what those words mean. Like the party also known as, I'm like, no, my name's just Chris. Can you just call me Chris in the contract? Don't call me party A or B because I don't remember. I don't remember what I had for breakfast,
Yep.
But there's like certain things to look out for, like a big one. I mean, obviously non-competes is a huge thing. People have different opinions on that, but a lighter one is if the company owns the content or has the rights to the content you create while you're employed under them. Yeah, I know some companies do that. And I'm not one of those, big radio sucks. Like everyone does things different ways. Sometimes they get things right. Sometimes they get things wrong, But like, I don't know right now if it's an iHeart and Entercom and like Cumulus contracts. But for some of these companies, or maybe like Town Square, I'm not really sure. But when you sign that contract, it says, if you make a YouTube video, it's ours.
Yeah.
If you put a post on Instagram, it's ours. My advice would be run.
Just don't
5
even
years
sign
ago,
that.
I would have told you differently. Now run, because you're making a living off of the radio fam. Kyle King is making a living off of his Twitch stream. I am not making a living off of my YouTube channel.
And I'm not making a living off the radio fam, by the way. I have a whole other full-time job.
Edit. Yes, I am.
Yeah, it's killing it.
But you definitely don't want to give that away. That's something that's snuck under the radar a couple times for me. And, I've talked about this at length. I've made my whole career off of content on social media and mostly YouTube and video stuff. I've made my whole career off of it. And a lot of other people have done that as well, but you don't want to give that up or give it away or have them tell you what to make. That being said, sometimes I get it, because if you're doing a talk show and all you talk about is how great the KKK is, I'm probably not going to hire you and let you, continue to do that. Yeah. So you kind of got to navigate it, but I would definitely run from that. I personally would not sign one ever again that had that in there.
So do you think, like, is there, typically in those situations from the company side, is it like it's this way or no way, or is it like that with the right lawyer you can take it away? You can't take out that clause.
No, I think you'd need to reach a level where you're willing to walk away. Yes. I've been very, very blessed in my radio career to get to the point where I'm able to choose, and I'm not living in LA in some giant mansion. I'm making a living for myself and doing fine, but I've had opportunities for some jobs that paid more money. And I turned them down because I said, I'm not giving that to you. And I absolutely will not sign a non-compete, period. Not even up for discussion, period. It's nice to have a choice. Like there's this preconceived notion that I had for the longest time that if you get offered a job in radio that pays more money in a bigger market, you take it. That's how you move up, right? I did that shit like 7 times, man. It's a grind. It's a slog. It sucks. I would not do it the same. Maybe I would, because I've had so many cool experiences, and that's how I met my wife and some of my best friends. Career-wise, I maybe would have played it differently, but once you get to a point where you can turn those things down, it's really nice. I've had some really, I'll say it, whatever. I've had 6-figure offers that I've told them no, because like we want you to relocate to this big market that's not Detroit, not your home where you live now, where you just bought a house and just got married. We want you to move to this market. We're going to pay you whatever, $100,000. And then you have to sign a 6-month non-compete.
Yeah.
And I always tell them no, because I've started in that movie and I know how it ends. I think there is a middle ground. Like if the non-compete said, if I quit, if I work at, Marie 105, okay, and I quit Marie 105, I can't go work at Karen 102.
Yeah.
But if you let me go, if there's a flip, if there's a layoff, if all these other things, because you and I, as the DJs, we're at the mercy of, really, let's be real, the CEOs. It's not the PDs or the GMs or the OMs. It's not. It's the CEOs. You're at their mercy. And that happened to me directly, and I don't have to hold a grudge. I'm not mad about it. I learned a lot. I think I'm in a better place now for, my mental health. Yeah. Also my career. It's I've been very lucky. But when you're willing to say no, it's nice, because I've seen how that movie ends, like I said, and I don't want a part of that. It's not worth me slogging my wife, and my dog, my whole life across the country again to see it all blow up in 6 months, man. I deserve better. Like, not because I'm the best jock, because I'm a husband, because I'm a human, because I've been working at this for 18 years. I don't say I'm worth all that money. I don't know. That's open to discussion, whatever. But I deserve to have some kind of normalcy in my life. And I think we all do, So I think they're dog shit. I think all non-competes in radio are dog shit, period.
Oh yeah. Like you said, especially the one when they get rid of people. That part blows my mind when they get rid of somebody.
I get if you quit and you go across the street and take a legion of fans, but like when you've been in a market for 4 months and the station flips and you want to work at the hot AC across the street when you worked in country before, like who gives a shit, dude? It's not that big a deal. We're so worried about your quarterly ratings or hitting your bonus that you're going to fuck that person's life over and they can't feed their family. So your CEOs can button up their ties. Like, fuck off. I'm not with it, man. I don't like to be nasty and vulgar and I don't talk bad a lot, but I really feel passionately about that. I do think, and I'm sure people are watching this are not just on air. So I'm sure there's people in the offices and sales watching this stuff because I know you're super popular and everywhere.
Thank you.
And I know there's a reason for that. I understand if I work for Marie 105, and again, I'm doing a podcast about the KKK every week. I could see how that could be problematic. That's not okay.
Sure.
But when it's me trying to further my personal stuff and it's working and I'm not using the station to promote it, if I'm on the air every day, hey, it's Marie 105, it's Chris Cruz, check out my YouTube channel. That's not what the radio station's for, dude. You're using it wrong. Mm-hmm. That I understand. But I think there has to be some middle ground where the company protects themselves, but also lets you make a living and promote yourself. I think I know that's a gray area. I think there's a reason for that. Mm-hmm. But I do think it could use some massaging for both parties. Again, I also didn't say this. Thank you for having me on your show. I didn't say that.
Thank you.
So no, seriously, I've told you this before. I'm going to say it again because I want everyone to hear it. I'm a fan of yours. I think what you're doing is probably the coolest thing anybody in radio is doing right now. On air, off air, regardless. You're up there. Sean's up there. Kyle's up there. There's some morning shows that I still think are just absolutely murdering it. But I love being on your show. I think this is so cool. And I've been lucky to do some other shows like this.
The way you're talking about me and everybody else is how I feel about all you guys. Like, I'm kind of like, hey guys, notice me. I want to play with you guys. I want to play with the cool kids, You
know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I'm starting to figure out there's a lot of us that feel that way. So before we started recording, we were talking about some of the, accolades that you and I have had. And, the fact that people like Chet Buchanan and Bert from the Bert Show and Dave Ryan and R-Dub even know who I am. Is mind-blowing to me. The fact that my show is on in 31 markets, that's why I get nervous because it doesn't register to me. It doesn't I don't feel like that's me. I don't feel like, and this is going to sound self-deprecating. I don't mean it this way, but in my reality, in my vision of what, reality is like, I'm not in the same category as R-Dub. Or B-Dub or, some of these, DJ Sinister, all these other guys doing these amazing shows. But I am. Yeah. And that is I don't know, it's a mind fuck. I don't know how else to say it. It's so humbling, but I feel like people like you and me and Kyle King and Sarah Quinn and dozens of us who have kind of started to make a name for ourselves as like this next wave of like people in radio shaking things up and doing other things. I think we're all like that. We all think that we're not shit. We all think that we're the worst and we're all super insecure and hate ourselves, but I think it's some solace to know that like you and I feel the same way. It's nice that we're all on the same page. Like if we all think we ain't shit, then hey, maybe we're good. Who knows,
That I feel like radio people, they all like are a little family because we're all just like awkward and don't really have like a fit into like a place. So we all just kind of like are a bunch of misfits over here. And then we like appreciate each other for our awkwardness.
I guarantee if we went to morning show boot camp next year when it's live again and you say, everybody raise your hand if you fit in high school. There'd be like 2 hands up and they're both lying. You know what I'm saying? I think we all have that in common. We just have this camaraderie that we've kind of been beaten up a little bit. People that aren't in this don't get us, don't get what this is. I think that's why like, you and I have only spoken a couple of times. This is the longest we've ever spoken, but it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
At all.
It feels like we're BFFs already.
For show. Sisters, man. I don't know if I've ever told this story before, but what the hell? Yeah. I went to morning show boot camp. I was doing mornings by myself on a station in Fort Wayne called Rewind 106.3. I was the program director of mornings, did everything. So it was my first year going and I didn't really know a lot of people. I knew Andy and Nicole who were competitors of mine, but they were super nice to me. And I didn't really know anybody else, but I wanted to go so bad. I mean, like all of us, I just wanted to fit in so bad, Yeah. And they had all these big names on stage. Chet Buchanan was there again. I think Bobby Bones might've been there that year. Just these like guys who I'm like, oh my God, that's like my Jimi Hendrix or whatever. Like they're just the biggest, Dave Ryan, the biggest of, BJ and all these other just top dogs. And the last day they were talking about, cause Kid Craddock had just passed away. Right. This is going to blow your mind. And I'm ashamed of this, but I didn't really know who Kid Craddock was.
Oh,
coming up in radio, I was just in my market, and that's where I was. I didn't really do what we're doing now. I didn't do this networking and reaching out and meeting people in other markets. We weren't on Facebook as much back then. This was like, I don't know, it was the year whatever year that was, Kid Craddock had passed away. So everyone's up on stage telling these Kid Craddock stories. I'm in the corner, and I think I had my first and only ever panic attack. I don't suffer from anxiety. I don't know what that's like, but if that's what it's like, I'm so sorry for anybody that does. I felt like, Marie, like I didn't even exist in the room. I shouldn't be there. I didn't belong there. No one knows me. I'm a fly on the wall. I wanted to leave. So I kind of like scooted my way out because I was there by myself, rooming by myself, and just kind of like cried it off. Like it was awful, right? Fast forward 4 years later, and I go with Julia. I know every person in the goddamn room.
That's crazy.
Like, I don't want to say I went to like rock bottom, but that was a hard day for me when I was trying to make it in radio. Now that, people have told me that I've made it, and I feel like I've done some things. I don't know if I've made it yet, but yeah, the only way to do that, man, because I've been through it and it blows. It is a very hard thing, is just to find people like you, the introverted nerds or the dorks, or the kids that didn't fit in or the outcasts, because that's all of us.
Yeah,
it really is. Don't be like me and feel like you don't fit in, because none of us fit in, man. We're all fucked up. So let's all hang out. It doesn't matter.
That's why I have been very big on hey, just reach out to people and let them know, because you're likely making their day.
I got a phone call from Tic Tac, who if not everyone may know him. You should. For my money, the best radio jock of all time. Anybody. That's my opinion. Okay. He worked for Phil Becker. I worked for Phil Becker, and I saw something on his Facebook, and I sent him a message, and he goes, "What's your number?" And I go, "Okay." He called me, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Tic Tac? No, I'm just chilling. I'm cool. How are you?" And I'm like dying inside. It was like meeting your idol.
Yeah.
So that was definitely my moment. That was really cool. So now when I have jocks that are like, 21, 22 in college, just doing their podcast, reach out to me. And I know it's not that big of a deal for them, but if I can even give them a sliver of what Tic Tac gave for me that day, like I will always do this. So don't ever be shy to reach out to me or to Marie, or if anyone's putting out content, it's because they like to talk to people. So don't be afraid of their ego. And if they don't message you back, fuck them. Then they probably are an egomaniac and they're too busy for you. Who cares? But yeah, no one's going to tell you no. No one with half a sense of how to make content is going to tell you no. Anything. Okay. So if you don't believe in yourself, I got a syndicated show. If that's possible, then dreams really do come true. So go climb that mountain, whatever it is.
Do you credit most of the syndication stuff? Do you credit that more to like the radio side or the content creation?
Content, 100%. Content all day. Yeah, have you ever heard me on the air before?
I have not.
Perfect. There you go. Proves my point. And you know what? That doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I wouldn't even need to, like you're like, I wouldn't even need to hear your check. I'd be like, no, I want to talk to Chris Cruz.
But just go for it. We are all nerds. We all like making content, and no one's going to say no to promoting their content. Let's just be real. That's not what we're doing tonight. But if I had something to promote and I was invited on a show, I don't care what time zone it's in. I'll be there.
Exactly.
100% every time. Well, let me ask you this. You have to be honest. Are you jealous of my YouTube following?
Actually, I don't even know how many you have.
Because I am jealous of your Instagram following.
Oh.
But you would have never thought I would say that, would you?
Yeah, no. I'm jealous of your...
We're all on the same playing field, man. We are all out here trying to make $1 and put some food on the table and make some cool shit, man. So there's no tiers to who's the best and who's approachable. We're all on an equal playing field.
But I see what you're saying, because I'm jealous of your influence. That but I think it's cool. Like I'm not like jealous and like fuck Chris Cruz. I'm like, how's he doing that? That's really cool. How can I learn from
I know that? A lot of people say that, but I'm glad it's not you saying that. So thank you. If you could believe it, I was actually more uncool in high school than I am now. Oh my God. I cared so much about being the center of attention all the time. I cared about being funny. I cared about being popular. I cared about saying the thing in class makes everyone laugh. I cared about winning the talent show. You know what I mean?
Oh, funny.
That was my whole life. That was my lifeblood. That was my existence and even in my radio career for a long time, I needed that, I guess, admiration or, whatever you want to call it. And now the thing that fuels me is people reaching out and saying, hey, I watched a new YouTube video. I started this podcast and I was going to quit it, but like I saw your video. Now I'm going to do a whole series. I'm like, yes. Fuck yeah, that's awesome. That's what kind of jazzes me now. I've had the accolades and I'm very thankful and I've been very blessed. And I've been so fortunate in my career to have a successful career and be able to feed my family and make a living out of the thing that I think I'm best at.
Yeah.
But it's just really cool to get to touch other people's lives. Like people have touched my life. So like if I can have that TikTok effect or tic-tac, Jesus Christ, the tic-tac effect on anybody else, even a sliver of that, then I feel like I've done something really, really useful, you know?
And then now, as we get older and wiser, I'm the same way. It's like, wow, like how can I help people? Like it's kind of really when I think about each thing that I do, how does this bring somebody value,
Right. It's interesting because everybody in radio has been the cool person at one point, because we've all been on stage. We've all interviewed a celebrity. We've all done a shot with someone famous or whatever. We've all done a cool morning show bit. We've all done a cool charity. What else?
Yeah.
So now that we're all that, now that we're all these weird, nerdy content creators, what else do you have to offer and to give? Because we've all done that already,
Yeah.
Maybe it's this really cool podcast and products where you're promoting just the radio vibe and just like the life of radio. That's really cool. Or maybe you're Kyle King showing people how to make a complete 180 pivot in your career and be successful. I think that's the next big thing. I don't think it's next. I think it's now. I think that's the now thing for radio. Is not necessarily what you're doing outside of radio, but what additionally are you doing to either give back, be one of a kind, contribute, or create something that's never even existed before.
Yep, exactly. And then it kind of all ties back to your brand, and they just kind of know to associate that.
Why do you think I just talk about Crocs so much?
I know. I'm like, hello.
And they still haven't reached out one time. They know they found me on Twitter. Not that this matters, but I'm verified. Who cares? But I know they saw my tweets.
Yes.
I know you see them, Crocs. I know you're watching this because people tell me I can't. That's how I know I'm onto something every time. Well, you're gonna start a YouTube series? Fuck yeah, I am. You're gonna do music videos? Yup. You're gonna do drag? Yup. Do that. Put it on video and use it and do it for charity and do it for content. Yeah, I'm gonna do that all day. Don't tell me I can't do something, And for the YouTube thing, if it takes off, cool. If not, I know for a fact because people have reached out and said some really nice things. People are getting something out of it. So that's what drives me now. Like, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of YouTube stuff I want to make money on. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
To be able to quit a bunch of jobs and make money on YouTube all day. Is that going to happen? I don't know, but it could. That's how I think. I said this for a long time, and now I'm starting to see what it's like. I've always said, if you want the Seacrest money, put in the Seacrest work.
Yeah.
He did it. And it's interesting because sometimes radio people shit on him, and I don't get that at all. Like, that is the hardest working guy. I never had the pleasure to meet him, but a lot of our acquaintances have, and only spoken highly of him.
And then he's a big radio nerd too.
I mean, you're just jealous, dude. And if you're jealous, do something about it. If you want the Seacrest money, put in the Seacrest work. Radio's weirdly cannibalistic like that. Like, I remember back in the day when PK was doing the Playhouse and doing these videos before there was even like YouTube. And he's like, some people are doing now what he was doing 15 years ago. He was so ahead of his time. People are like, what are you doing? You're a radio DJ.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, bro, like, you're thinking small fries. Like, I love radio, and radio has been my lifeblood, my lifeline for 18 years. And I'm never going to leave it. But there are other things I want to do too. You know what I mean? Seacrest, Kelly Clarkson, Luke Bryan. We can do this all day and name people that are doing, different things. I don't think anyone thinks of Ryan Seacrest as a radio DJ. He's Ryan Seacrest. If he's on American Idol, is he on Ryan and Kelly, right? Ryan and Kelly. Or if he's on American Idol or at the Grammys, he's Ryan Seacrest. And I think we could all benefit from that. I'm not saying we need to be cocky and think we're hot shit. I don't compare myself to Seacrest. It's night and day. Yeah. But I would like to get there. And success leaves clues.
I love that you are just a perfect example, because then I can actually, it's, again, one thing for me, I'm still not trying to be the person on the radio. So I can't be like, well, great, I got all these syndicated shows because I built the radio fam. You can say I've done this content creating and it fucking worked for me. You're just essentially getting noticed. And that's what's cool about social media.
Yeah. And I've been so lucky. I think we mentioned this before we started recording, but I haven't applied for a radio job since 2006. Yes. And I've been employed in radio since 2003, I think. But they've all come to me because of my content. I've never said I'm the best jock. I'll never say that, but that's a fact. And I know not everyone thinks my content's great. That's okay. I agree sometimes. I don't think everything I put out is great. I try to make it great. But I found a way, and that was just to stick out and do something that other people weren't doing. And am I the best at making videos? No, I am not. Am I one of the best people in radio making videos? Probably, because it's a very, very, very small pool.
Very.
I got a syndicated show. Like, are you kidding me? Me?
Yeah.
It's wild. It makes no sense. So if you think this is all bullshit and that content doesn't matter and you shouldn't be on TikTok because it's all kids and lip syncing, because again, that's how they find you, because of your content, Like, I guarantee you right now, if you're watching this and you're someone in radio who's like unemployed on the beach, or you're looking to pivot, start it now. If you do it now for a year, it'll work in a year. If it's an Instagram post every day, if it's a Twitch show, if it's a Clubhouse room, if it's a new YouTube series, if you literally just put your foot on the gas and don't let off for a year, it'll work. So really the only excuse is not starting it. and I know it's a lot of work, and I know we're all busy, and some of us have obligations and families and stuff. I know, trust me, I work on weekends all weekend now to get this stuff done now. It's the only way I can fit it in. But I know it's going to work. I know it's going to work.
To your point of starting it now, another good example of a story happening right now is like Nick and Kristen. I think by doing their Twitch show and doing what they're doing, again, God forbid they get let go, but they've already laid that groundwork.
You will be let go.
Yeah, at some point.
You will be let go at some point from your job. I will be let go from another job at some point. That's kind of what I do. I'm really good at it, getting fired. That's part of the deal. That's why you have to be in many different vessels. If Ryan Seacrest loses American Idol tomorrow, you think he's going to be out on the streets? No, he'll be fine. If and when, God forbid, Throwback 2K ever stops to exist, I hope that doesn't happen. I don't see that happening. But if it does, I'll figure it out. I'll be okay. I've got my hands in enough things. And not to say I'm not thankful for it, but that's why I have my hand on a lot of things. Cause I know if you don't, that's a dangerous place to be. If you put all your chips into one thing. But if you have a morning show, give 100% of that morning show, but you should also be doing it on Twitch and also spend some time on Twitter or starting a blog or starting a radio fam type brand. Build your brand and, put the work in.
Exactly.
This is going to sound really wild because I think some people in the industry think I'm very cocky and I'm very full of myself, but I'm not. I really want to succeed. I want so badly to be able just to make content from home all day, every day. And that's my career. If it's Throwback 2K, if it's a YouTube show, if it's, a show that I'm recording in St. George, Utah, if it is a club, whatever, that's my goal. That is my personal goal for myself. And I just want to get there. But the fact that I'm doing it, the fact that I got syndicated, and I don't think I'm that special. Do I know I'm good at this stuff? I work really hard at it, but am I like the best at this? No. Am I the best jock or the best YouTuber? No, I just always keep working at it, so just get to it, man. There's so many people that we know, and I don't want to mention names, that I know would kill it doing some of this stuff. And they're at home and they're upset, or they have that part-time job and they don't have the time. And I know it's not always possible just to make content all the time, Chris. I don't have time. I know. I get it. But as soon as you get the opportunity, when you're in that right headspace, man, just start that new thing, because people are doing it and they're succeeding literally right now as we're recording this today.
Yep. Just the more how we can all help each other. So,
I've gotten smart enough to know that I don't know anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, serious. So the more people that I can connect with, I hope I can provide something for you, something of value. And hopefully we have this really cool professional and then also friendship and a symbiotic relationship where I can come on your show, you can come on my show, introduce me to a new person. I don't remember, it might not have been you, but I linked up somebody with Kyle King who didn't know him before. And I was like, oh my gosh, how do you not know Kyle? I'm so glad I was able to make that connection. But it's because of things like this that we're able to do that. So meet more people, reach out, make more friends, do more stuff like this. If it's recorded for a show or if it's just in private, just reach out and connect with people. Because I've made a whole career out of that, meeting the right people and, representing myself the right way and putting the work in, I think the other thing is I just get bored a lot, man. I get bored. I'm not going to do Home Studio Catalyst forever, I'll always be making stuff, and it might be a parody video, it might be a YouTube series, it might be songs, it might be a radio show, a podcast, but I just have this curse, it's a blessing and a curse, my brain. And I always have to be making stuff, which most of the time pays off, not always, but as I get older, I'd learn to just kind of just ride that wave, I guess. And I still don't feel like I've made it or that it's enough or I'm satisfied. And it's not because I'm greedy. It's just my brain still has more to do, I guess,
I'm the same way. And I've actually asked myself sometimes, well, what is the end? Like, when am I going to be happy? Like, I obviously don't want to be one of those crazy people that can just never relax and enjoy. But sometimes I feel like that person, but I am also enjoying what I'm doing. Like you say, you enjoy making the content and doing all that stuff. Like I like sitting there and curating the content and trying to figure out ways to come up with promotions and marketing. You
just got to start it, and for me, sometimes it's just an outlet. Like my YouTube series, I started just because I wanted to make something, because I'm like, I haven't made videos in a while. I need to get back on it because I get rusty real quick.
Yeah.
And then a couple episodes in, people started responding saying, hey, that was useful. Hey, can you cover this? I have a question about that. I'm like, oh shit, this is not what I thought it was going to be, but it's a lot better. Not like numbers wise, I don't care about that so much, but people are getting something out of it. And that's not even why I started doing it. I just realized people ask me questions a lot. So I'm just going to do a video about my studio setup. And all of a sudden it just exploded into this thing that didn't even exist 9 months ago. It's wild. I know some folks in this industry that are very greedy and secretive about their little things and they're secretive. They won't tell you what it is. But how old are you? 12, dude? We're all in this together. We're all playing on the same team at the end of the day. I know we got competitors across the street and all that shit, but at the end of the day, we're all doing this together. So let's just share the wealth. And honestly, if I share my wealth and someone steals it, that means I got to come up with another thing. And that's where I get my jollies is like the next thing. You know what I mean? Like, let's say someone else copies Home Studio Catalyst tomorrow. Yo, my next show is going to fuck you up. You know what I mean? That's just how I'm always thinking. It is interesting that you are one human and you created this brand, the Radio Fam, and you're doing giveaways and giving and I got a couple shirts from you, so thank you. They're amazing. Yes. But you're doing it better than 99% of radio station promotions departments who don't have a budget.
Yeah.
Why is that? And I know there's not an answer to that, but I think a lot of people should be paying a lot of attention to you and how you're handling this brand and navigating everything. Because I think you're outmaneuvering radio in some ways. I truly do. I really do.
Thank you. Like, and I don't want to sound cocky either, but I believe that too. Cause I don't, when people ask me like, when people ask me like which stations, you know, to have good Instagrams or have good, I'm like, I can tell you some people that really stand out.
Yeah.
Can't really tell you any stations that are like killing it.
No. Cause you know, we can talk about this all day and I don't like to bash radio a lot because I still love it. And I still believe in it, but I do think sometimes radio tries to do radio too much. You know, you can't do radio on YouTube. You can't do radio on a podcast. Radio is its own thing. And it's this amazing thing. So don't dilute it by trying to make it something else. Radio may not fit in for a YouTube video. If the video is just the morning show in the studio sitting there talking on the microphones, that may or may not work. Don't think just because it works on the radio, it's going to work everywhere else, because what works on TikTok does not work on YouTube most of the time and vice versa. So I think that's the one big thing that radio is getting wrong. Not everybody, just for the overall, like this overall arcing theme is that they treat every other product like radio's better than it, but none of them are better. They're all just different. And you have to treat them all individually. Like, you know, the same pickup line isn't going to work on 10 different people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You got to read the room and act accordingly.
Right. It's like, don't be the radio station, be the brand. And I think that's from a digital perspective, that's kind of what I was trying to show people also with the Radio Fan. Well, I will let you go because I know it's 10 o'clock your time. You know, usually it takes me a bit to get these. Actually, I'm getting a lot faster though at editing these things. So I can usually do them within a week now.
Keep doing them. Like my episodes used to take me a week. Now I can do them in a couple of hours because as I'm recording it, I'm thinking where the edits are.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. It's just like every time I do a video, I get better at it every single time. Like it or not, you learn one thing. And, you know, that's why I hate when people say, oh, I'm going to start it. But like, no, dude, start it now. Cause you just suck at it for a year. Just suck at it for a year and it'll get better. Cause my old videos are dog shit. My new ones are, you know, they're getting better. They're not where I wanted to be yet. But my old stuff is just, at the time I thought it was awesome. Right. But now looking back, like, no, but that's how I got better is I did shitty stuff. You don't get better without making shitty stuff.
And I think we need people like us in the world. We're the disruptors. We're the people that figure this shit out.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I don't remember who said this. I know, oh God, it was an author. They said, if it ain't broke, break it.
Ooh, I like that.
And there is no box. Who's thinking outside the box? What box? Living on Mars, man. I'm not living in a box. You can live in your little safe little box. I'm cool over here.
Yep.
With all the weirdos.
That's how you get noticed. Well,
this was so nice. Thank you so much for having me. I'm humbled that you asked me on. I was kind of waiting because I was like, please ask me, please ask me, please ask me, please ask me. So this was a lot of fun. And it's nice, like getting to know you and talk to you, not just over DM. I hate doing that.
I know. Yeah. It's harder to really connect, keep in touch as we just keep building this awesome shit we're all building.
Oh, show. Yeah. And if you need help with this or anything else, like I know we're busy, but we're not too busy to help each other. So if you need anything, dude, just, I'd prefer you reach out and bug me. I want to help. You know what I'm saying? So you too.
And if there's anything you want me to give like extra love that you're on, like just let me know. Like, you know, I try to keep up with what you're doing, but
just everything. I need all the tens of my views. I need that shit in my life.